This is another sign of the times, an analysis and a commentary. Remember, I don't make the news. I just report the news. I'm just a messenger, delivering the message. Panel says climate change behind extreme weather. At least some of the weather extremes being seen around the world are consequences of human-induced climate change and can be expected to worsen in coming decades, a United Nations panel has reported. It is likely that greenhouse gas emissions related to human activity have already led to more record-high temperatures and fewer record lows, as well as to greater coastal flooding and possibly to more extremes of precipitation, the report said. Whether inland flooding is getting worse because of greenhouse gases is murkier, the report also stated. Nor, it found, can any firm conclusion be drawn at this point about a human influence on hurricanes, typhoons, hailstorms, or tornadoes. The findings were released at a conference in Kampala, Uganda, by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a high-profile United Nations body assigned to review and report periodically on developments in climate research. They come at a time of unusual weather disasters around the globe, from catastrophic flooding in Asia and Australia to blizzards, floods, heat waves, droughts, wildfires, and windstorms in the United States that have cost billions of dollars. A hotter, moister atmosphere is an atmosphere primed to trigger disasters, said Michael Oppenheimer, a Princeton University climate scientist and a principal author of the new report. As the world gets hotter, the risk gets higher. The panel won the Nobel Peace Prize with Al Gore in 2007 for its efforts on climate change, but it later became a focus of controversy related to minor factual errors in a large report that it had issued that year. It has tightened its procedures in the hope of preventing future errors. The new report on extreme weather, one of a string of reports that the panel is issuing on relatively narrow issues, did not break much ground scientifically, essentially refining findings that have been emerging in climate science papers in recent years. Indeed, the delegates meeting in Kampala adopted scientifically cautious positions in some areas. For instance, some researchers have presented evidence suggesting that hurricanes are growing more intense because of climate change, but the report sided with a group of experts that says such a claim is premature. Nonetheless, the report predicted that certain types of weather extremes will grow more numerous and more intense as human-induced global warming, or whatever have you call it, worsens in coming decades. It is virtually certain that increases in the frequency and magnitude of warm daily temperature extremes and decreases in cold extremes will occur in the 21st century on the global scale, the report said. It is likely that the frequency of heavy precipitation or the proportion of total rainfall from heavy falls will increase in the 21st century over many areas of the globe. Even as such extremes are projected to increase, human vulnerability to them is growing as well, the report said. Rising populations and flawed decisions about land use, like permitting unchecked coastal development, are putting more and more people in harm's way, the report also added. The report, approved in its final form on Friday morning, is a 29-page summary of a larger document with more scientific detail that is not expected to be ready until the spring. The group's next all-encompassing review of climate science is due in 2013. In 2 weeks, negotiators from many countries are to convene in Durban, South Africa, to try, as they have been doing for nearly 20 years, to come up with more effective ways of reining in the greenhouse gas emissions that scientists say are causing the climate to change. Analysts are not optimistic about any major breakthrough at those talks. At the same time, some countries that had long held out are starting to adopt stronger domestic policies on climate change, with Australia becoming a notable example. It passed a carbon tax earlier this month. In other words, the United Nations panel is saying that climate change is real and it's going to get worse before it gets better. I have been studying the weather in my state for at least 42 years, and it has changed dramatically. For example, the leaves on the trees and the plants stay on them much longer than they used to, by some 2 to 3 or 4 weeks longer than they used to. Overall, the temperatures have also changed. It stays warmer much longer than it used to, and it doesn't get as cold. The seasons are different than they used to be. It's also become noticeably drier and warmer. So yes, from my perspective, climate change is very real. This too is another sign of the times, the end times, transition days, which is a time of extraordinary events, happenings, and changes. Everything that must change quickly or rapidly, and for the better, because it's about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations, and that should be a very important question to ask. Again, Luke chapter 21, verse 25, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. 26. Humans' hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. 27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. 29. And Jesus spoke to them a parable. Behold the fig tree, and all the trees. 30. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now near at hand. 31. So likewise ye, when ye see these things coming to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is near at hand. Revelation chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those humans which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Yes, it's time for all these prophecies to be fulfilled. Everything is connected, and everything is numbered. It's also called fate or destiny, and all these are more signs.